Welcome back, viewers, to LBS Response to episode number 93. So yes, welcome back to another LEGO video. In today's video, I've got another episode of my weekly Q&A series I do here on the channel. And first off, I really want to say thank you guys all so much for the support on this series the past couple weeks. 10 to 15,000 views and about 100 to 150 questions. So it's kind of the truth of it. I'm going to have to, start not being able to answer everyone's question. But if your question's not answered today, definitely leave it down below and I'll possibly be able to get to it next week. And one last thing before we get started, I do want to say go ahead and enter the giveaway from yesterday I posted. I'm giving away some 2023 LEGO Star Wars sets. It takes about 30 seconds of your time to enter, and there's up to 13 winners, so you have a pretty good chance there. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the first question. So starting off, we have Daniel Otto, and he says, why is LEGO not putting things like commando droids or tactical droids that don't have a problem like the B2s, and instead chucking 2 B1 battle droids and all of the clone sets? So when I first read this actually made me think for a couple minutes. And then afterwards, I kind of thought to myself, hey, look, in the design interview, it doesn't specifically say just the arms, okay? At the end of the day, they really were kind of saying the entire Super Battle Droid, needed a remake. Since I would assume at the end of the day, look, I mean, if they just had to switch up the arms for the Super Battle Droid, I would assume they'd be able to do that within 8 years, or I think it's actually been 9 years since the last one now, where it makes me question, because if we actually look at all that, the commando droids, the tactical droids, and the super battle droids all actually share the same leg pieces also. So it makes me wonder, I mean, is it the leg pieces, as well? Because, at least in my personal experience, whether it's the old blue metallic ones, whether it's the pearl dark gray super battle droids, I've actually had quite a few of those actually break at the clips, at the legs, the legs, connecting to the torso. Those have actually broke quite a few times for me, and of course you see a lot of people, posting about that. So I really do truly wonder, is that part of the issue also? But then I also question, I've never seen that in commando droids or tactical droids. So it's almost like it's a pearl dark gray exclusive thing, some of those shinier pearl colors, the blue metallic, the pearl dark gray. So at the end of the day, it's got to be something to do with probably the whole fundamental aspect of just, the legs, the arms all connecting, and probably why they're not putting commando droids and tactical droids in sets. And even then, I think, I don't know, we're in a different era of LEGO, I gotta be honest. So I think bottom line of it between, they have an excuse to say, hey, look, we gotta redo them, but now it's just gonna take them 5-10 years to actually redo them. So thanks for the question, man. So next up, we have Alex Santamaria, and they say, ask LBS, what era gunship would you want this $160 set to be based off of? Also, what minifigures would you want with it? So, what era gunship would I want it to be based off of? Look, I think it's one of two things in my opinion. Either I just want a plain white gunship, or I want a Munilist 10 gunship, I think. The more I've kind of thought about it, I'm perfectly fine, I guess, if they were to make some like Wolfpack gunship, or 501st or 212th. I'm personally fine with it since I've got, 3 of the 2013 ones. So like I've got my white gunship army if I need so. But I think personally, look, I mean, this new $160 one, give us a regular white one or a Munilist 10 one. And what minifigures would you want with it? I think, if we're going the plain white one, I would want them to go Season 7 route and include, Ahsoka, Maul, probably not, well, yeah, not Gar Saxon, probably just 2 regular Maul Mandos, male and female, Phase 2 Captain Rex, and probably that teal pilot. But then if we're going Munilist 10, from the 03 Clone Wars, probably, you just kind of keep it simple, Anakin from that era, Obi-Wan, probably Captain Fordo, 2 blue clones, and then possibly just 2 of the dark orange battle droids, unless, of course, they come out super battle droids again. I would want, some of those in there as well. But I think, fundamentally, maybe 7 minifigures per set would be nice, but those are kind of my 2 things. But at the end of the day, look, I'm perfectly fine with any gunship they come out with. I mean, as long as they don't give us, like, I want it to at least be like a Canon Legion. Like, I don't want them to come out with like a 187th gunship. I mean, if they waste a spot on that, make a purple gunship, include those guys again, that's when I'll start getting disappointed. But, nonetheless, I'll really take any gunship at this point, especially because I've got so many of the old, just plain regular ones. Thanks for the question, man. So next up, we have JaxBricks26, and he says, would it be cheaper to buy 3 Clone Army custom clone pilots or the official LEGO minifigures? Because there are not too many sellers selling more than 2. I know the price is $24 for 1 CAC pilot. So, look, fundamentally, and this is kind of an answer to anyone that has a question like this when you're comparing, official minifigures versus, any sort of custom, is, and I love CAC, believe me, I've loved them for 15 years. I got mad respect for Tyler, pretty much the #1 LEGO Star Wars custom company out there for the past 15 years. But what I will, kind of just let you keep in mind there is, okay, say the CAC pilot is 24, and say you have to maybe fork out 30 or 32 for the clone pilot, the official one. What I will say to that, if you pay that $8 difference, say, just keep in mind that, that official LEGO minifigure will always retain the value of the market pretty much. Say if it, keeps at 32, or, say it goes up to 35, goes up to 40. There's a lot more room for that minifigure to actually give you more value and not decrease as much in value compared to, say, if you buy, a $24 CAC pilot. realistically, look, face value is still 24 in that minifigure, but you also have to keep in mind, look, will anyone else really give you face value for it from yourself? Like, pretty much you can confidently say, look, you spent 24 on a CAC minifigure, that minifigure is realistically only like $15, $16 now, to the right person, unless you really truly know someone that will give you full boat for it. But I mean, that's a lot less likely than, say, someone giving you full market value for an official minifigure, because of course there's a lot more purists out there than not. So I'll just kind of put that information in your head, let you kind of think for yourself now. But nonetheless, I always go official. I really do. I go official about 95% of the time. CAC definitely makes a lot of one-off and cool minifigures. A couple captains and commanders and clones that that Lego will just never make. But something like that for pilots, I would personally go official all day. Thanks for the question. So next up we have Jaden Weeks, and they say, what determines if a set is a good part out or not? Are the Lego classic sets good for parting out? So first off, I'll answer the second half of that question. Classic sets are usually not good for parting out unless you get them for very cheap. Even the Black Friday boxes lately are not that good, since they're the same boxes they've had for like 3 years. So unless you get them for, at that point, classic boxes, 60, 70% off, it's not worth putting your money into. And then if you want to figure out, what sets are good to part out, of course, look, the easy answers are, Star Wars, Harry Potter, superheroes, pretty much the obvious licensed, themes. But if you actually want to, try it out for yourself, go on bricklink.com, go to market, go to part out value. I'll put a picture up on the screen, and then just type in the set number. And you can either search it by 6-month average sale pricing of all the parts and minifigs, or current for sale price. So I go 6-month average personally. I usually always run a little bit of a sale on top though. And if you're just starting off on Bricklink, I highly recommend maybe just not, just keep in mind, look, everyone is kind of competing at the same prices on Bricklink. So if you're just starting off and you want to get some, quicker return on your investments, say you're parting on some stuff, you want to make some quicker money, get most of that money back pretty soon, I recommend running a little bit of a sale off of that 6-month average, just to kind of get yourself a little bit below other people, get a little bit more traffic, get your name out there. But that's how you can check out if sets are good for part out. But realistically, pretty much any licensed theme is always going to take the cake over a non-licensed theme. Thanks for the question. So next up, we have Southern Brick Productions. He says, ask LBS, I'm considering buying a large Lego bulk lot, but I've not sold on eBay recently, which gives me $10 per month limit, and I'm too young to open a Bricklink store. Do you have any other ideas? So I can think of, 2 things right here, maybe even 3 things. First off, look, I don't know. I've not read like the fine terms. I've been able to sell them. They're perfectly fine. I have not looked at, what age requirements there are, but there's also Whatnot. There's also Mercari, Facebook Marketplace. Bottom line of it, look, I mean, like, I can't fully recommend this to you, but like if you open up a Bricklink store and, if say you can collab with a parent on it, for a couple years, say maybe you only got a year or 2 to go. If you want to put it like under your parents' names and pretty much just have them kind of run it for you. But of course, it's just your products. If you want to do something like that, I'm pretty sure that's fine. But nonetheless, yeah, I've never heard about that eBay $10 per month seller's limit. That must be something new, but I think, yeah, nonetheless, I mean, Whatnot, I'll put my link down below if you have not sold on Whatnot yet. I don't personally sell on there too much anymore, but I've got an affiliate link where I believe both of us get $10 once we each sign up, right? It's been a while since, I've actually looked at that, but I'll put a link down there. Whatnot or Mercari are probably my top 2 options, man. So next up, we have an individual by the name of Tan. I don't even want to try to pronounce the rest of that name since I don't want to butcher it. But they say Q&A, do you think that when we get a new Captain Rex minifig in 2023, the old one will go up or down in value? So look, at face value, of course, it's going to go down. It's going to go down in price. People are, the sell-through rate's going to go down. But the one thing I will say about that, though, is, the thing we have to keep in mind with some of these minifigures, I kind of said this about Ahsoka, and, same with Captain Rex, kind of. If we have a Captain Rex that comes out that is just straight up awful, no pauldron, no waist cape, say the helmet print's off, say we have helmet holes that look ugly again, it's going to definitely bring down the old value a lot. But if it's bad enough, think about this. If the new Captain Rex, Phase 2 minifigure is bad enough, I really don't see it, detrimentally affecting the old Captain Rex. I mean, sure, it's going to bring it down from, it's not going to be a $300-$400 minifigure anymore. But I think forever, if the older one is the superior one, I think it will retain $150, maybe $200 of value, mainly just due to the fact of it is the better minifigure. Of course, that minifigure will always be more rare than the new one, especially if the new one, starts having, Mexico factory making extra million of them. And so it's one thing, look, fundamentally, yes, the price will go down. It's not going to be, pushing $500. It's certainly not going to go up anymore unless the new one is like just straight terrible. Like unless they make the new Captain Rex like yellow. You know what I'm saying? Like unless they make it like that, then of course the old one's going to pretty much skyrocket at that point because we're all thinking, look, what are they doing? You know what I'm saying? But I think, yeah, face value is going to go down, of course, but it'll be kind of curious to see. I mean, especially with the Ahsoka minifigure also, I kind of said before, look, you're comparing a animated series minifigure versus a live action minifigure, so they're going to be different from an actual just initial standpoint. And then also one last thing I will say about this topic is you always have to keep in mind, those are going to be two different unique minifigures forever, and there's so many Lego collectors out there that want to buy one of every Lego Star Wars minifigure that pretty much any SKU of a minifigure, any minifigure that Lego's ever made will always have a certain market for it because people will want to collect it eventually. Just because a new Captain Rex comes out does not mean for a second that no one on the planet is ever going to want that old one still. So, yeah, thanks for the question. So next up, we have Jacob Heaton, and he says, Q&A, do you think maybe for the Ahsoka show, and also 2024 is the Star Wars Rebels 10-year anniversary, do you think more Rebel sets will come out over the next year or two? For example, the Ghost, as it is very expensive and a retired set. So that's actually a really good point. Now that you bring up, 2024 is the 10-year anniversary, not that I feel like Lego necessarily cares all that much, but maybe you're right, though. Maybe we will get some of this stuff pushed back, to 2024, to not spoil anything for the Ahsoka show and also the 10-year anniversary of Rebels. So that's actually a really good point when you brought that up. But I'm still pretty confident we might see a Ghost this summer. But if not, definitely 2024 probably. Thanks for the question. So next up, we have Keith Crane here with a little bit of an investing question. He says, hypothetically speaking, you can only buy one 2022 retiring Star Wars set and you have to buy 100 of them. What one set are you going all in on? Love to see the channel doing so well. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Keith. I appreciate it. And yeah, so the number one set I think I'll buy, quite frankly, might be the Mandalorian Starfighter. Of course, the two biggest ones, Mandalorian Starfighter or the AAT, but what I will say about that is you're pretty much just comparing Gar Saxon versus 332nd clones, and from an actual just physical standpoint, Gar Saxon is worth more right now. Gar Saxon is roughly 30-35, 332nd's about 20 right now. As much as 332nd is more armable, but for the risk factor, what I will say though is Gar Saxon is a lot less likely to ever be put into a set compared to say 332nd. Of course, 332nd. As much as I don't like to say it, we also have to kind of think about it from Lego standpoint. If they were to make something like a Captain Rex's Y-Wing, any other thing that has any sort of, something like that for a 332nd, they could easily just throw it in there. Another clone trooper, an additional kind of cheap minifigure they already have. Unlike Gar Saxon, though, where I feel like, look, there's nothing else that Gar Saxon minifigure could be in. Like, unless they make another Mandalorian Starfighter, which, even then, I mean, it's like, that was the one set he could have been in, for sure. But, he doesn't even really fit the Mandalorian Starfighter all that much. Not necessarily. So, that Gar Saxon or that outfit, I'm about to say right here and right now, and, I'll put $50 on it. I will truthfully put $50 on it. If I'm ever wrong, or if I'm wrong on this, I'll give away $50 worth of Lego, or like a $50 Lego gift card. We will not see that Gar Saxon, so hold me to it. We will not see that Gar Saxon in that outfit. We might see a Rebels outfit one, but a Clone Wars outfit Gar Saxon, we will not see for at least 10 more years. I'll put $50 on it. I know that's not all too much for 10 years, but I'm confident nonetheless. But, 332nd clone, there's that 5-10% chance that, they could just throw him into another set within the next couple of years, But, yeah, thanks for the question. So I'm going a Mandalorian Starfighter. So next up, we have Whale, and he says, ask LBS, do you think LEGO will ever step up their game when it comes to clones? Because I find myself wanting customs more than official LEGO prints and only buying sets for their builds, not the minifigs. So, I think that's all going to be a subjective answer, really, towards anyone, since even based off what you're saying right now, I'm kind of disagreeing. I don't buy sets just for the builds necessarily. I still find some value in the overall experience of an entire set. And believe me, I'm the first one to say I'm criticizing LEGO a lot lately. I mean, I think some of their minifigure choices are really bad. Some of their set choices are pretty weird. But, personally myself, I have to think, LEGO kind of knows they have us by the throat right now. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's clear as day, because really almost in every aspect, aside for a couple things, there are a couple things LEGO's doing pretty nicely, these days. Some more side of leg printing, some more arm printing, stuff like that. I'll give LEGO that. But, when it comes to clone troopers, it's factual. Like, I don't think anyone can actually deny when comparing, say, 2020 through 2023 clones versus 2010 through 2014 clones. Like, you just can't deny that those older clones are better than the newer ones in many, many aspects. So, personally for me, again, like, I will never go the route of buying only customs just for a value sake, for a brand sake, just for the overall hobby itself. I'll never just go to only buying customs, but I can see why people do want that. But look, I'll be the first one to say, I think until Lego actually sees a change in their sales or something like that, or there's just new management over there, you know, someone new with the Lego Star Wars design team, you know, get that older guy out of there, bring the younger guy up a little bit. It's not even that middle guy, you know, that other guy, that the one bald dude, you know, not the main guy, but the other guy in that one interview. He seems cool. I mean, he said his favorite set he ever worked on was the 2007 MTT. So it's like, heck yeah, I like that guy. You know what I mean? Like, put that guy in charge. But I think for now, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little bit. I think it's going to be another 3, 4, 5 year stretch until we start seeing Lego step up their game. And that's really weird that they're backtracking so much. But thanks for the question, man. So next up, we have Joel Sattler, and he says, ask LBS, what clone Legion do you think is most likely to be made, and what Legion needs a remake the most? So I think what Legion, you know, most likely to be made right now is probably 327th. I got a really good feeling. I mean, look, they literally have a macro binocular piece perfect for a Phase 2 Commander Bly, which they've never done it. And it's like, you know, we've never really argued for a Phase 2 Commander Bly. You know, we've never made a movement like Phase 2 Cody. Nothing like that. I feel like there's not been a whole bunch of people I've seen at all that have ever said, like, oh, where's our Phase 2 Commander Bly, let alone Phase 1. But now I feel like it's the perfect time. Like, give us Commander Bly now. You have no excuse, you know, to not. And then you give us some 327th, you make the same little thing. Make a $45 set. Give us, you know, Ayla Secura, Commander Bly, 327th, and then also 2 battle droids, and call it like that. So that's what I feel like is most likely to be made. Then what Legion needs to remake the most? I think, for myself at least, I would love to see Shock Troopers remade and a little bit easier to make, or a little bit easier to get, because right now, like I said, they're going for like 80 to 100 bucks a piece, impossible to buy in armies. And I've always been a pretty big Shock Trooper guy. You know, I've got like 30 of the the 07 one, I think, or 07 one, and I've got 4 of the Coruscant Police Gunship ones. But Shock Troopers, I think, are the best. I mean, let alone, Wolfpack Trooper. I mean, really anything. I mean, what Legion needs to remake the most? I mean, basically anything they've done that they haven't done. You get what I'm saying? I think, you know, to update it in the new 2020 style, make them a little bit cheaper for everyone, actually obtainable. I think Lego pretty much has to start knocking them all out of the park. So, yeah, thanks for the question. So next up, we have Armatrix right here, and they say, do you think we will see more Phase 2 clones from LEGO due to their appearance in Bad Batch Season 2? Is it possible a Bad Batch Season 2 set will appear in the summer wave? So, yeah, I definitely think it's possible, because if we look at 2021, you know, the original show came out then, and then it was also the fact of the Bad Batch shuttle came out 2021 summer. So, it's definitely possible. I mean, what will they actually make this year? Who's really to know? I mean, I've seen 2 episodes. Nothing new in the first 2 episodes, in my opinion. They're not going to make a huge cargo ship, at least I don't think they would. But, yeah, you know, regular Phase 2 clones, just directly based off of Bad Batch Season 2, I feel like will be kind of a stretch. I mean, look, if LEGO wanted to make Phase 2 regular clones possible, I mean, they've made Stormtrooper battle packs. Like, they've made regular plain white First Order Stormtroopers. They've made plain white, you know, Episode 2 clones. Like, they've done all that in the past 10 years. And they've not given us Phase 2 regular clones, where, look, they know they exist. They know they could sell a bajillion of them. And I don't know what's stopping them. I don't know why Phase 2 clones aren't, like, just a staple to think, like, even back in, like, 2018. Like, why not just put those minifigures in a set? Like, you know, give us whatever molds you want. Like, I don't know, I don't know what LEGO's really thinking. So, you know, is it going to be based off directly Bad Batch Season 2? I highly doubt it. But I think just genuinely, those have to be coming pretty soon, right? With the new 2020 update, and just, you know, LEGO is doing quite a few clones right now, and I got to give them props. They're not doing them too good. I mean, I feel like they're definitely putting out more quantity over quality, you know, clone trooper wise, but yeah, pretty soon here, man. I really hope. So next up, we have TJL Production 66. They say, ask LBS, what are your favorite LEGO themes to collect? Love the video. So I'll go kind of a top 3 right here. I'll go 2 new and 1 old. Top 2 on the shelves right now would be Star Wars, of course, and then also Speed Champions. And then retired, I want to go Fantasy Era Castle. So pretty much 07 through 09 Castle. You know, that's kind of what I grew up with. I've got a decent little collection of it right now. Still quite a few sets I need to buy. But that's kind of my little, you know, kind of guilty pleasure theme. You know what I mean? Like, if I get a little extra money, if I find a good deal on it, I'll be the first one to snag it, kind of thing. So those are the 3 themes. But I'm really a big advocate of kind of just buying whatever I like. You know, I've got an Avatar set behind me. I've got Creator Mustang behind me. I bought, like, the Tiger, you know, the new Creator Tiger. I bought the Creator Crocodile. You know, I bought the Batman Tumblers, of course. Like, I've got quite a few non-Star Wars and Speed Champion stuff that I still buy. I'm pretty much just, look, whatever I like, whatever, you know, LEGO produces, I will purchase it. You know what I mean? So thanks for the question. So next up, we have Bleeding Red Paint, and they say, ask LBS, hey man, thanks for all the quality content. At what point does the price of exclusive minifigures from UCS sets hit their bottom? $20 to $30 range. So yeah, that's kind of subjective from the standpoint of C3PO and say the $240 UCS Land Speeder will probably always be less valuable than say the printed Mando and the $650 Razor Crest. But at this point, look, I'll say it a little bit again. I know I say it a lot, but it's just the truth of it. When it comes down to some of the value of these newer figures, the Mexico factory is ruining that. I mean, look, I get it. Everyone wants cheap minifigures, and that's cool. When I'm able to pick up a UCS Mando for $25, am I really complaining because I got one for myself? Not really, but I think the overall culture of the hobby and kind of just making stuff a little bit more fun to collect, when it is a little bit more rare, the odd one out of having a $70 UCS Mando and, compared to all the other cheaper minifigures and cheaper sets, that is kind of nice in my opinion. But, pretty much based off which one you want right now, I would say, yeah, anything, once it gets under like the $30 range, you could probably pretty confidently buy it and never really regret it. Sure, if it goes down to $20, $25, like, are you really going to hate yourself for overpaying $5, on a UCS minifigure? Probably not. But if it's anything like the Heath Ledger Joker, man, like, those guys, again, they came on the UCS Tumbler, the newer one, and those were sitting at $40, $50, $60 for a while. Understandably, it's a badass Joker minifigure in a $220 set at the time. Now it's like $270. But, they were sitting at like $50, $60. Mexico got a hold of a bunch. I didn't buy them from Mexico, but I got quite a few for very cheap. I had like 18 at the time, and I was able to sell them. I got them for, I want to say I paid $12 each. Like, if that tells you anything about how cheap some of the Mexico stuff is. So that means the person I bought them from got them cheaper, where they were able to make money on me buying them off of them for $12 each. So if that tells you anything right there. But so I paid $12 each. I was selling them for like 26 to 30, and then they bottomed out at like $20 on Bricklink. Then they went back up, and then literally Mexico made another however many, 5,000, and now they're back down to sellers having 30, even 40 of them, all for like $25. Yeah, so for all these UCS minifigures that are on the shelf right now, I would say anywhere, 30 or under. You could pretty much be confident in buying. And like I said, you might maybe overpay $5 at the end of the day, but once the sets do retire, that minifigure will continue to gain value above that 30 for sure. So yeah, nonetheless, thanks for the last question for today, guys. We have Arion A Studios. They say, ask LBS, do you think LEGO will ever start printing capes since they started printing waist capes? Like Darth Vader doesn't have a physical cape, he has a printed one. Love your content, keep it up. Thank you so much. And that's a really good point, actually. When you said that, again, it kind of made me think for a little bit. This is a very good question that I feel like people don't really talk about and don't really ask. And this is a fun one. So what I got to say to that, though, and this actually brings up a really good point about the cloth waist cape. So pretty much what LEGO kind of did with their capes was they went from a more starched material, which is a lot easier to kind of fold and bend and crease, to a spongy material. On the new, I think they started maybe in 2014 with that, like the 2014 Vader, and they've pretty much continued it ever since on most, caped minifigures. I think is the CMF still starched capes? I think so. I think they still make the starched capes, but they do have sponged, capes, which are a lot more flexible. Like literally just like you can kind of crumble it up and it still retains the original shape, And that's one thing I've always thought about, or not one thing I've always thought about, but one thing I've thought about since I read this question a little bit earlier. And why don't they just make sponge material waist capes, because they make the more starched material waist capes where sure, again, if you start folding it a little bit, you kind of put it on the minifigure, you let it sit there for a while, it's never going to go back to the original form. It's always going to kind of be in that, leg, position. But if you start making them in the sponge material, it's going to be a lot more flexible. They're not going to bend as much if you're worried about. It's not going to rip as easy either, since the sponge material is a lot easier to tear than that starched material. So now that you say that, look, if they ever start going printed, capes, that's going to be terrible. That's a terrible idea on LEGO's end. But now that you bring that up, though, I'm kind of going to reverse that question and kind of give you an answer and say, I'm very surprised they don't have sponged material waist capes. What's their excuse over that now? So you brought up a really good point right there, and I got to be honest, that's a really good question. So thanks so much for that, and that's all the questions for today, guys. Let's close off the video. So guys, thank you guys all so much for watching this video, and yeah, this was a fun one to make, and I will say, one last time, is I do apologize, for not being able to answer more questions in these videos. It's just fundamentally, making a 40-50 minute Q&A video is just not good. There's some people that will watch it all the way through, but it's probably, just not in my better interest to do so. But I really do appreciate the support. Like I said, there's like 160 comments on the last episode, so many questions to pick through. Like I literally had to sit there for like 30 minutes and just like really kind of think about it. What questions, are the best for this week? So don't feel bad about it if I don't answer your question. Just keep on leaving it down below. Maybe change it up a little bit. Maybe, change the wording on your question a bit, or, just maybe add a little extra flair to your question. If it's a couple weeks, since I've answered it. And that's pretty much all, guys. Again, go enter the giveaway yesterday, and I'll see you guys all in the next Q&A episode. Again, I greatly appreciate the support on this series. This is a very fun one to make. And nonetheless, guys, thank you guys all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for you guys later. Bye, guys, and stay safe.